Is the ADA chart ready for a breakout on this daily chart? I'm going to discuss some, not concerns, but hesitations on the short term that we should look out for, but they can also be called bullish confirmations. If these things happen, this could be the bullish indicator that suggests that ADA is actually about to make a nice move to the upside. And then more importantly in this video, we're going to look at the ADA BTC chart. Haven't done this in a little bit, but bunch of different indicators lining up very nicely on the macro. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into this Cardano video. I wasn't planning on doing a video today, but I saw this post from Jesse over here on X. He just wrote ADA versus BTC's breaking out of longer term downward trend line. And when we talk about a longer term downward trend line, this is the ADA bear market versus BTC right here. Like this is the entire move, right? And it's very similar to the cycle before, what ADA did before having its parabolic bull run, just really outperforming a lot of crypto back here. Now here we are, we're kind of right after the Bitcoin halving. Here's last Bitcoin halving. So as we start dissecting these indicators and looking at this macro picture and talking about ADA BTC, and then even talking about the move on the daily chart, this shift back to the upside that we're looking for, I have to say this again, and I know I talk about this nonstop, but there's continually people that are just suggesting that ADA is just underperforming, which when you look at other altcoins, ADA is like in the same group as other altcoins in the altcoin market in general. But not only that it's just underperforming versus itself last cycle. So for a very quick context, I just want to put out this reminder. From Bitcoin halving to where ADA is right now, we're like 80 some days, it looks like, past Bitcoin halving. 80 some days past Bitcoin halving. Last cycle, ADA was right here, right? So just to give you a little bit of a sense of where were we last cycle, well, last cycle at this moment from all-time high, ADA was down around 90%. This cycle from all-time high, as I'm doing this video, ADA is down around 87%. Nothing out of the ordinary right now. And I just want to say that, and I know I say it a lot, and a lot of people might be sick of that, but that is so important in terms of the timeline of the cycle for ADA. Now we start dissecting and getting even a better roadmap of where is ADA this cycle. We can start dissecting the ADA BTC chart. So I want to discuss this. Jesse was looking at some indicators. What I want to just open up is really the indicators. These are indicators I've just used over the years. We have the RSI right here. We have the stock RSI, and we have the MACD. These are momentum oscillators that really give us a sense of reversals. They really give us a sense of, man, when something gets oversold, right? Usually there's high fear in those environments, and then overbought, where there's just too much hype in those environments, right? This one right here is the RSI. It's a slower moving momentum oscillator. So you can see this currently kind of bouncing out of oversold. At the same time, we have this RSI, a quicker moving momentum oscillator, also bouncing out of oversold. And I'm going to take and kind of, we're going to look historically and get some ideas of, man, when this type of move was happening previously over the years, over the cycles, what was the next thing that happened? And then we have the MACD, which I would say could potentially be the most bullish thing happening right now on this ADA BTC chart. You can see this MACD line, this blue line getting ready to cross that signal line. Just look at that blue line. It's a really big week for this weekly chart on the MACD. So that's something in play. But if I start zooming out, what I did was I said, okay, let's first off realize this RSI oversold area, bouncing out of that. And you can see historically, here's the bear market that we just fell into. Historically, ADA was oversold right there, made a kind of a nice pop to the upside, tested moving averages. As far as cycles go, it wasn't ready for a bull market, right? But that was kind of the beginning of, hopefully, the reversal on this ADA BTC chart. But then we look back a little bit more, and there's two data points I want to look at. It's this move back here, and then also this move right here. Now, this move right here, I really want to look at because this post-Bitcoin halving is the very similar move. If we look at the same time frame on a USD chart, the very kind of similar move and similar timeline where we are right now, right? We're just past Bitcoin halving, ADA is consolidating and potentially preparing for the reversal. We're in a very similar part of the timeline right now. even more so, ADA is even more oversold as it was back here. It didn't even hit oversold on this RSI. What it did do, though, is it hit oversold on the stock RSI, the quicker moving momentum oscillator. And you can see a very kind of similar move. What I want to point out is if we look at this stock RSI back here, you can see the stock RSI just kind of making its move to the upside. And right here wasn't like the bullish move into the parabolic bull market. You can see actually ADA consolidated one more time to put in a higher low, and then there was that move, an escape out of these lows for ADA. But this move right here, so similar on the stock RSI, especially because of timeline, to this move right here. So we might have the beginning of this long-term macro reversal on the ADA BTC pair. And here's the thing. You can just notice it's happening earlier this cycle. Notice where all of this stock RSI is oversold. Right into the halving and through the halving. Last cycle, this was happening months after the halving. So I just want to point that out. Now, in confluence with this, let's talk about the MACD, this bullish indicator that's setting up. And this is where things become even more intriguing, because when we start putting indicators together and then we start putting timelines together, meaning we are just after Bitcoin halving right here. We were just after Bitcoin halving back here. We have this very similar stock RSI, Start putting all these indicators together. We have this MACD cross setting up. Well, guess what? Back here, shortly after the stock RSI exited oversold, you can see what happened on the MACD. There's the MACD cross back then. This was happening in like January 2021. And then what happened after that? ADA was off to the races, right, on the ADA BTC chart. And it really flew. If you look at this swing low right here to swing high, we're looking at 1,100% versus BTC. This is what happened last cycle. Now, I want you to notice the move that ADA BTC is having. We just looked at all these similar oscillators, the momentum shift that's potentially setting up right now, all similar. But I also just want to point out once again, this is happening sooner than when it happened last cycle, post Bitcoin halving, right? ADA was suffering months and months after. Now it's kind of suffering months and months into the Bitcoin halving. So that is very bullish, I think, for the ADA BTC chart. And then if we just look at this, the question is, well, is it happening now? Is this the reversal? Is this it? And that's the thing that we have to be patient for. And the one thing is, when we start kind of exiting the ADA BTC chart, we do have to start looking at BTC USD. What is that doing? What is total crypto market cap doing? What is really the altcoin markets doing? And probably the bigger one, the most important one, what is this chart doing? This is the Bitcoin dominance chart that we've been talking a lot about. So the Bitcoin dominance chart, we are waiting for it to kind of break this higher high, higher low trend that we see on the weekly. We do have fading momentum on this oscillator, so this could be actually happening soon, in which case we see Bitcoin dominance start falling. Guess what? When we start looking at something like an ADA BTC chart, we might start seeing this actual reversal start happening. And we just have to be patient. This is a weekly chart. We do have a lot of nice setups when it comes to all of these oscillators, and this could be the very beginning right now. I always like to use caution and not just get too confident in things like this, but I just want to point that out to you. This ADA BTC chart. And the other thing to just point out is this, where ADA BTC is bottoming right here. Just look at it. This is exactly the same area it bottomed last cycle in this very similar move of consolidation that is this time happening earlier. Now, we're going to take a look at the daily chart, what I'm watching on the very short term, what I'm careful of on the very short term. But before I do, here's the weekly chart. I want to just point something out to you. We obviously made note of ADA's down 87% this cycle. This time last cycle is down around 90%. We made note of that. Want to open up the oscillators on the USD chart, and you can just see this potential reversal starting to happen on ADA on the USD chart as well in a very similar fashion. We open up the stock RSI, very similar fashion as what we just saw in ADA BTC. It's been oversold. It's been oversold on the stock RSI for months. And so this potential shift could be happening, and we might see a really nice pump for ADA on the weekly chart and really just from a multi-cycle perspective. Let's go to the daily chart. I want to just discuss some things just to kind of bring it all together on the short term. That is for me to say, these are some nice indicators on the macro charts. We've been very patient. I think rightfully so. There's no reason why we should think that ADA would be even above $1, let alone at all-time highs right now. It wouldn't be normal for altcoins in general to be in that environment. We just looked at that from a timeline perspective. But on the short term, I do want to mention something. And really, we kind of have this structure that's been forming from the previous swing high that we have. This entire move that we have back here, if you remember, it was an exciting move back up to around 80 cents, and then we're all the way back down. And I think I mentioned this before, there's kind of a similar vibe of structure that we saw kind of at the beginning of the end of the bear market, right? So meaning this move up here to the swing high, kind of back down, a little bit higher, then back down and consolidating for a little, right? Well, we had a very similar move. Swing high, back down, a little bit higher, and now we're in this very similar consolidation. So we're in a kind of this consolidation area that is so similar to this consolidation area back here. What am I waiting for? I'm very much waiting for, and this is usually how it is anytime I'm waiting for a reversal on the daily chart. It's this. It's the move above the moving averages. No more lower highs and lower lows, below the moving averages and rejection below the moving averages and failing to show support. I'm looking for just an explosive move through the moving averages. And right now, it has not happened, right? It's nice to see ADA on the daily chart is just above the 20. That's the first step in this journey, right? The 20-day moving average is right here around 38 cents. We're barely above it. But look, the 50-day moving average is around 41, 42 cents. And ADA is already contending with it. And if you just look at this is on the kind of midterm from the swing high in March, we're kind of just putting in lower highs. Right now, as I do the video even, ADA is just putting in kind of a lower high. So the first thing, now that it's above the 20, is I would like to see if it can hold above the 20. Or is this just going to fail? We're going to get a lower high and actually just keep going. And if that's the case, what is the RSI doing? Because we already noted on the RSI, we have our first bit of bullish divergence. So we have a higher low right here from this swing low, and we have this lower low on price. So that's some bullish divergence right there, right? But what happens if ADA starts falling again? Are we going to get kind of another higher low on RSI? Just have to wait longer. Could be more bullish divergence before finally breaking these moving averages. But it's really those moving averages. And then we still have the 200 to contend with around 52 cents. We need one of those really strong, just ADA, you go to bed, you wake up, it's higher. The day, it's just consolidating. You go to bed again, you wake up the next day, it's higher. We need that environment where day after day, ADA is making a power move. And the power move needs to be through all of these moving averages. 52 cents. ADA needs to get back above, really, if we think about it, the mental barrier of 50 cents. And then start really putting in higher highs and higher lows on the weekly, because this is the true macro chart for ADA that we want to see ADA flip, right? So the 20-week moving average, that green line right at 50 cents right now. And then it still has to contend with 74 cents, 73 cents, the 200-week moving average. So it all starts stepping stones on the daily, and that's what I'll be watching. So I want to just do a nice analysis starting with the ADA BTC, pivoting to USD. These are some things I'm watching. I'm just watching. That's all I'm doing. I'm studying historical data, trying to follow this cycle for crypto in general, trying to apply it to the ADA charts just so that I can anticipate every single scenario, whether that's lower or whether that's the macro reversal, the bullish reversal that we're all waiting for. These are just some of the things I'm watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. Please hit the subscribe, hit the like. I appreciate all of you out there that continue to watch my videos. It really does motivate me. It means a lot, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.